What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another video. And in this video, we are going to be talking about a potential draft scenario that lands Chase Young with the Detroit Lions. Let's get this thing started. Okay, everybody, so we are going to be talking about a draft scenario that I have been sent multiple times on Instagram. As you guys can see this picture, I've been sent this multiple times by multiple people that potentially the Redskins are interested in selecting Isaiah Simmons. Now, this to a lot of people, and me specifically as one of them, initially I hear this and I think, okay, they'll take Isaiah Simmons, we'll take Chase Young, and boom, we're good. It's all simple. But I think there's a lot more that goes into this when you really read deeper on what the Redskins are looking to do here. The Redskins are looking to acquire Isaiah Simmons, maybe. That's the report. So let's just say, for example, they're looking to get Isaiah Simmons in this scenario, and that's all they want to go after, because if you throw in other things, it won't make any sense. Let's just say, hey, their goal is to get Isaiah Simmons, but they also have a second goal, and that goal is to trade back and acquire more picks. They don't want to take Isaiah too. Their thought is, okay, let's get Isaiah Simmons and acquire picks. Well, that's a great thought in theory. However, that thought may not work out. Why? Because there's a team at number 4, not the Detroit Lions, but the New York Giants, that could mess all of that up, and that makes this trade back scenario for the Washington Redskins super, super risky. So the Redskins, as we know, thought has been for the longest that, hey, they're going to take Chase Young. That's not their biggest need, but Chase Young is such a great player that it's going to take Chase Young anyways. Well, now the thought is coming out that, hey, maybe they go with Isaiah Simmons because that's actually more of a need. And now I know the other thought was, hey, maybe they go with Jeffrey Okudah because they traded away Quinton Dunbar. However, recently they have signed Ronald Darby, which I'm pretty sure Quinton Dunbar wasn't very happy about. But anyways, they signed Ronald Darby from the Philadelphia Eagles. So the cornerback position looks solid. Now they could still go Okudah, obviously, but in this scenario, we're thinking with the moves that they have made, with how good that defense line is, they want Isaiah Simmons per report, so they want Isaiah Simmons. But they also want to trade back. So how in the world could they somehow trade back past 4, acquire Isaiah Simmons and more picks, without the Giants selecting their guy in Isaiah Simmons? Because the Giants also this offseason went out and signed James Bradberry from the Carolina Panthers to a huge deal for the next cornerback position. So I think before that move, the thought was, hey, the Giants could take Jeffrey Okudah, and it's a worthwhile risk and potentially trade back past them and still acquire Isaiah Simmons. However, since they brought in James Bradberry, the thought is, yeah, the Giants probably aren't going to take Jeffrey Okudah at number 4. And because of that, trading past the Giants and still hoping to acquire Isaiah Simmons is a very, very low chance, because that's kind of the guy they're going to go after unless Chase Young is available, knowing they need an edge and a linebacker. And in this scenario, Lions would probably take Chase Young at 3. So that would mean that the Redskins, who traded past 4, would lose out on Isaiah Simmons. Am I confusing you? Yeah, I'm kind of confusing myself, if I'm going to be honest with you. So there's a lot that goes into this that there's just so much to talk about, because this is a thing that the Redskins want to see happen. They want to get Simmons and picks, but I'm not sure how you're going to do that. So the one thought that may come to your mind, why don't the Redskins just trade back with the Lions then? The Lions want Chase Young, saying they want Chase Young, and the Redskins want Isaiah Simmons, they want to acquire picks, to trade with the Lions. Okay, well, the thing is, since this came out, if the thought is, hey, they're really interested in Isaiah Simmons, which they would be if they're trying to trade back, then the Detroit Lions could sit there and say, no, we're not really going to give you anything. Maybe we'll give you a 5th-round pick to trade up one spot. And the Redskins will probably decline that because they want a huge return, like the return they got, like what they gave away to move up to go get Robert Griffin III. They want a return like that. And the Lions sitting at 3, if they know they want Isaiah Simmons, then why in the world would the Lions give up anything to move up? Because, hey, they know they're not going to take Chase Young anyway, so I'm not going to trade up to go get him and give you anything. So Lions are in a great position there just because of that. If they really want Isaiah Simmons, my thought is this for the Washington Redskins. You got to take him at number 2. The thought is you have to take him at number 2, or you have to be willing to say, okay, you know what, Isaiah Simmons could go before we get back on the clock. And if that's the case, we're just going to have to live with it, unless somehow the Redskins want to try to trade back up, which you're probably going to lose out on assets anyways, so that would just make no sense. So either they're going to have to take him at number 2, which is Isaiah Simmons, or they're going to have to trade back past the Giants, probably past the Lions, and just say, hey, you know what, if the Giants take Isaiah Simmons, it is what it is. We'll just have to have a second plan, which could be offensive lineman, which we know they definitely need. So that could be the option. Now, we know that the Giants could potentially pass on Isaiah Simmons. They need an edge rusher. Probably is their biggest need, like the Lions, in my opinion, do. And that's Kayvon Chaisson. Kayvon Chaisson is still going to be available, even if the Lions take Chase Young. And because of that, they could select him, and then the Redskins could potentially still trade back and get Isaiah Simmons, and their dream scenario comes true. However, that's pretty unlikely that they will pass on Isaiah Simmons. So my thought is this: hey, Redskins, if you want Isaiah Simmons, you're probably going to have to take him at number 2. But the thought is, hey, they could take Tua still. They could still be interested in Okudah and trying to pair him up with Ronald Darby. They could go with an offensive line trade back. I'm not sure what that is, but if the report is true that, hey, they're really interested in trading down and acquiring more picks and still going to Isaiah Simmons, I just don't see that as a very likely scenario. But if they're willing to trade down and say, hey, you know what, we missed on Isaiah Simmons, Simmons will go with a lineman, then it definitely could be an option. Now, if they trade down, it changes things up again. Who are you trading down with? Are you trading down with a team like the Dolphins or Chargers who are coming up to get a quarterback? Then boom, Lions could still have Chase Young. Are you trading down with a team like the Giants who would trade up to get Chase Young? Then the Giants could be trading up getting Chase Young. You can move back to 4, and now the Lions are on the clock. And now it changes things up again because now Jeffrey Okudah, Isaiah Simmons are both there at 3. And with the Redskins behind you, you're looking to get Isaiah Simmons. Now you're in that situation with power as the Detroit Lions say, you know what? We're going to take Isaiah Simmons. I know you want Simmons. So are you willing to trade up for him? It could get really wild. I just wanted to give some thoughts out there. Let me know what you guys think could be potentially happening with this. I just think there's a lot of ways that this could go, a lot of scenarios that may not work out for other teams, but I think the Lions are still in a good position. And hopefully, and you know what? I love Isaiah Simmons, but if Isaiah Simmons goes number 2, I wouldn't hate it as long as we take Chase Young. So that's my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts, comments below. How do you think this is going to work out? Thank you, Pride, for watching, and I'm out.